Oh hi, it's Bukai, and welcome back to another video for the Guild 3, and I must apologize to everybody for the past bits with the smaller videos. As I said, I'd gotten an emergency root canal, and I had just had to stop doing the recordings for a little bit in order to basically not have my jaw want to try to murder me, and yeah. Oh, someone else is leveled up. It looks like it is another minstrel. And let me see here. Add-ons. That's as far as we can go. It's too bad I can't get more of my minstrels there.
Well, here I am.
So hopefully this will speed up now. And let me take you guys out and let me... Oh, nice. Everybody's leveling up right now. Let me just send you to Old Town. And who is leveling up? It looks like another minstrel. So upgrade that.
Where would you like to
And we've got 1, 2.
I'm ready.
That's a gravedigger. Why is a gravedigger doing absolutely nothing? Waiting for work, waiting for work, waiting for work. Why? You're full. That's why. They went right back to producing skulls. Okay, so I think I know of a way how to solve this. You do that. You put 1 to make sure that you keep one of these storage slots set. And I should upgrade the capacities while I am here. And I might as well do the storage space as well. So I'm going to quickly run and solve this, even though I feel like I've done this. Like, I don't think this actually saved. Let me see. Vacant offices. Council Informer. Let's apply. Who can do that? Who is on the board? Yosef and the boy. So let me put down Waltrud, because I believe Waltrud is 19. So let us confirm. And there we go. Gate guard. Ooh, let's apply over here and put Beatrice. And there we go. We filled all the slots available except for here, where I think that's all of our adults, though. Bertha, why not? I mean, I could just keep farming up some of this. So I might as well try and take all the lower offices. If I can.
Ready.
And transporter makes sense. You are in here. So let's run and fix the graveyard again. Let me see. Where is it? Dark Legends. And candidacy. Nice. To
What should we do now?
Gravedigger. And there we go. As there's definitely a problem keeping the fish oil on this site, because they keep going back to that guy there. So let's throw that on. And unfortunately, that's going to send all these guys back to at least bone dust. Family members leveled up. Nice. Who's leveled up?
Not now, please.
Waltrud, you are now level 2, which I've definitely done this at least 3 times. So let me boost your charisma up to 5. And you've already made it back to Prester, so let's dump. Oops, I did not mean to upgrade charisma, but that's fine. I'm gonna take 60 out, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run you down here where you're gonna sell Imprester, but then we're gonna run back to the fishing hut. Oh, we're actually completely out of fish oil. So I'm gonna have to just buy some fish oil just to help keep this thing running. I really don't want to, but... Oh, okay, so the layout's back to normal. Buy in for 66, but whatever, we'll buy 60, and then we'll dump that into the graveyard crypt. And we're gonna take the bone dust out. Well, actually, keep the bone dust in, because you need 2 bone dust per. Alright, I'm back with some post-commentary recording, simply considering it was at this point that my mic actually died mid-recording. I think there's a design flaw with this mic, because it's the 3rd or 4th time I've replaced this cable in such a short amount of time. What it's kind of doing is it's pulling the actual pins out from the cable, and it's just not functioning properly. I'm gonna have to get a new mic, as I think this is not a design flaw so much as like with the actual full mic, because it's a very popular mic. It's more or less a just defective one, or it could just be me. So I'm going through I think the date's gonna change here, but I'm going through the actual graveyard, and there's the date change, and there's a kid that's born here. A ugly child, and it will be used as an expendable child, or at least that is the plan once it turns old enough to just basically commit a bunch of legal acts and get a death penalty at the end. You know, useful. So I'm going through what I actually need, and I'm pulling out some bone dust, and I decide to add the bone bracers to the list, simply because considering the bone bracelets are a good way to produce as I wait for the fish oil to build up. I know it's not as profitable, but I'm not going to be able to get the fish oil enough to actually keep the graveyard crypt up and running. So this is a good way to make sure that everyone's running. I'm not filling my storage with useless crap, and the building will just continue operating as it does. Now, I do run back over towards my fishing hut because I do want to see if there is any fishing oil that's been made, and unfortunately, there's been none. I'm kind of just thinking, what is the best way to do this? Because I don't want to be spending a bunch of money buying a bunch of fish oil to keep the Gravedigger's crypt up and running. I'm just trying to figure out what the best path is, and there's not really much to do aside from running down and, you know, casting your vote for... Who else am I gonna vote for? Yeah, I'm definitely gonna vote for Ingmar. Ingmar, you should get the job. Yeah. No, this is the game of power. Game of power is played in lives. Don't want to die? Don't look at the board. I'm also trying to figure out what's the best way to set this, and I decide, you know what, if I can only get like a 60 for the actual skulls in, I'm going to set that guy up to 30, and the rest will just be producing the bone bracelets. This hopefully will fix the actual shop. I'm not 100% sure if it will. It's mostly a gamble at this point, and I'm going through the actual front of the store. I believe that I was in a bug, but I accidentally keep hitting the filters to all. You want to hit the filters up at the top, the drop down, to set to relevant, because otherwise you're just siphoning through. You can also type in what you're looking for, but, you know, Bulkai be Bulkai and spends ages scrolling through a menu when he could just in 30 seconds or less type it. Oh, see, look, you found it! I do decide, you know what, we're going to be selling some bones just to see if this could, but I then decide, oh no, wait, I only have 2 front store slots, so let's sell bone bracelets. Sell them in a pack of 60. Let's go. It's obviously not going to be going in right away, but I do decide I'm going to sell these at 150% because they're less profitable, but I kind of need to sell them, or at least have a bank of them. So I'm going to put up them to 150%. And for some reason, my reputation in Old Town is dropping and dropping hard. I'm not 100% sure what is causing this until later on when I notice that someone's been slandering me. I need to figure out how to find people's pamphlets and to see if you're able to rip them down. I know that in the Guild 2 you were able to set a thug to go basically patrol around a notice board, but I don't know where the notice board is in this game. And if anybody does know where the notice boards are, where putting up a pamphlet can be done, let me know how to remove pamphlets that are put up, because that would be really useful to know, and basically to keep my reputation up, because if I lose reputation, my pub is no longer going to be profitable, my guys are going to be running at a less efficiency, and I just want to know how to fix this issue. So if people could let me know in the comments below, that'd be really helpful. Now that everybody's starting to get back to work, I'm also starting to see that my competitors are starting to hit the patrician level, so they're very, very close. We're neck and neck. I think the only thing that's really differentiating ourselves is the fact that I have one additional title. I am a nobleman, while they are just a patrician, but it's not going to be long before I'm going to be competing with these guys, and I do find out later on in the video, or at least inside of the next one, spoiler alert, yeah, it's been that guy that's been slandering me. My ally. Yep, my ally has been slandering me. I'm not a big fan of that, and due to the fact that you're very rich, I'm starting to think, what are ways that I can take these guys down a notch? And I gotta siphon through all those notifications that I'm not going through. I really should pay more attention to that bottom notification table and start clicking on things when they pop up, but I just haven't been. Now, I start selling my skulls, and then I decide to tell my guy, you know what? Might be time to go back to work, but then I remember, I might want to take a look at my pub/tavern, and it's starting to fill, so let's take some things out of here, because Herman is going to be depositing some resources, but then I realized, okay, storage capacity can be upgraded, and what else can I upgrade to keep this thing going? And I'm looking for it, but I don't see the actual storage slots. I don't think that the pub gives you enough storage slots, to be honest. I think that they should be increasing that amount. Now, I'm also trying to send my guys to make some more offspring, and I kind of noticed that Joseph has failed to produce a child.
Now, please.
It's a shame. It's a shame. But, you know, we're going to see if Beatrice is up and willing. At 28, she's getting up there, so we're going to... It's kind of difficult for her to actually produce a child, but... We're going to gamble. We're going to find out. And I noticed that the Mercenary Quarters is actually available for purchase, and I'm thinking I might want to try and buy that once my titles start going up. And you can see here my candidature was successful, and lists of applications have been closed, but one of them has been opened, which is the Treasury. And this is where I'm thinking, okay, I need the next highest title. Because if I can take the Treasurer, no one can stop me.
What will it be?
No one can stop me for taking the beam line to the actual good old-fashioned sovereign. And yep, we're going to be voting for Waltrude, as this is complete politicking this rest of this episode. We need to get our politics up and running since we've now fixed the actual graveyard and crypt, as we're beamlining up to the top. We're just going to be trying to take over and become sovereign and just win. Now, I'm checking to see, and I'm thinking that my bank house was probably a mistake to actually building. Not only is it A, not in a great area for foot traffic, it is also B, just... I don't have the infrastructure set up to supply it, and it's too costly to continuously run, as I need to have a miller's shop, I need to have the actual croft filling it up in order to properly make business or profit from it, and on top of that, an orchidist hut. In other words, you kind of want to go with either a bake shop or go with the actual tavern slash inn route, and I went with the butchery slash tavern inn. I find that those guys just segue and combine a lot easier. If you're going for the bake shop, you want to go with the good old-fashioned orchidist or croft into millers into the actual bake shop. That is kind of the starting position for it. So one thing that I'm not doing on my transporters that I kind of realized that I should start be doing, I'm not investing heavily in the actual perception, which helps prevent them from being robbed. So it's something that I should be doing, investing up in dexterity for the movement speed and perception for their actual prevention of being robbed. And dexterity also has the added bonus of helping them defend themselves. Where if I arm my guys, it's a useful tactic. Now, I do sell some barley, simply considering I'm not really using it anymore. I should be keeping it. I should really just be loading up into the wheat to keep the wheat beer, but I'm using it, but not at the speed that it's being brought in. That's the lack of a better term. The pub, I find, is actually just hard to keep supplied. I'm thinking that you might want to try a double pub where you have one supplying, or at least making all the production. The other one just functions as a good old-fashioned investment. But I don't know how profitable that will be, because considering pubs have downtime. They're not always having customers inside of them, so we'll see what it does. We'll see what it does. And some allies are starting to pop up with different dynasties, which isn't the best. And I'm starting to lose a little bit of productivity due to midday coming in, as it is a pretty good realistic thing. After most of the good work is done up until about 11 o'clock during the day. After 11, most of the work in reality just starts to fall off. It's just something that has always been found and always will be found. And I hope I can keep up my productivity throughout the day.
Get ready.
Not the best of that. My candidature was successful. Huzzah! Wasn't like there was much competition. And you can see that I'm gonna butcher their name, but the Altschfield, or however you pronounce it, I'm gonna have to try and re-see it again, but they're starting to climb up the ranks into the tiers, and I'm not liking it. I don't really have a choice on this, but I'm gonna make sure that I'm not gonna be releasing someone else from the Dynasty, because considering that looks like a Landsknecht, and that Landsknecht will probably be demanding protection money from me, so I'm not letting you out. And those guys don't like me. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. there's not going to be any nice things that are going to be showing up anytime soon. And we're going to be moving Yosef up the line because we want to be trying to take all of the mid offices at this point. We've kind of secured the lower offices, and the lower offices are going to be growing up again. And it's going to be hard to maintain all of them until we can get the family larger. But as it stands right now, we want to try and move into the upper offices, and that is the goal. Now, a vote had gone through, and we're not going to be letting the Geislin, or Gilslin, or however you pronounce that. Sorry if these are anyone's actual names. I'm really bad with German pronunciations. I'm going to have to try and just learn a little bit of German to get better at my pronunciations, specifically for this game. And every time I see this kid's name, Altfried, I keep thinking that it's Otterfried. I don't know why, or Fried Otter is what I keep seeing in my mind, but no, it's Otterfried. I should name my kid Otterfried and then call him Otterfried. Or Fried Otter, just because I can. My horrible jokes. Now, it's here that I'm upgrading my croft into a farm and just dumping a ton of my money into this, and this isn't the best of decisions, but it is what it is. I'm just going to be setting this guy up for supply into basically supplying my bake shop. That's what this entire farm is for. And why I think that it was a mistake to go into this farm, because this farm has to basically supply the miller's shop, which then has to supply the bake shop. It's too many businesses to supply another service industry when I already have a massive chain trying to supply one. And it just... I don't think it ever is going to become profitable for the bake shop when I've already got all this logistics. It would have been better off for me to keep the logistics and invest heavily elsewhere. Basically do a one or the other. And candidatures are successful, and the Geislin are starting to grow, and not liking that, because these guys are, if I recall, a rogue empire.
What will it be?
And if they keep growing, I'm not allied with them, so bad things can start happening. And you can see here that this guy's competing against me. I'm really not liking these guys now.
What do I owe?
They're my ally. I find out later that they're slandering me, and they're now competing for offices into a place that I have no vote for. This ain't gonna end well for either party here, and it's where I gotta start competing, for lack of a better word, as I do not want him to come up and become the arsenal master. And it is the Aufschneider Dynasty that I am starting to wonder, and I'm thinking, he's pretty weak. Where is he? Can I get him? Just straight up attack him and just break his bones if I hire a thug. I'm very close to actually doing that, but then I remember, well, I'm allied with him, so I can't actually harm him. And I'm dumping money into repairing all my buildings because this has to be done. So now it's all about just gathering up the cash, because I've got enough of the influence to gain for the actual squire. And again, why I'm thinking that the massive investment into the bake shop was just a mistake. I need the squire in order to gain more businesses, in order to really get the bake shop up and running, and I think that it was just a little late to get the bake shop up and running. I could have gotten it earlier, or later on. It was too early to start the investment. I should have started with the farm, and then moved into the actual millers, just sold the millers stuff, kept the tavern supplied for a bit, and then later on built the bake shop. And maybe built the bake shop down in like Sudenburg or something like that. But you can see there, plus 708. People are buying items from the actual bake shop, and I am making a little bit of cash. So taking a look at the different places inside of this parliament, we're trying to essentially kick out all of our opponents, as well as take over the entirety of the politics. The problem is that we have a limited selection of adults due to the fact that we didn't poop out enough kids. And I'm thinking that the best way to do this is probably to just bounce my characters between the different houses that are available. It's not a very good spending of the influence, but it still adds up and can help maintain control over everything. Now, looking here at the Arsenal Mastery, this is a very important office that I need to win, and looking at the city legate, it's a chance I might not win this, and
Yep, you.
I might have 2 out of 3 votes, but it depends on how well the Offschnard, or however you pronounce their names, it depends on how well they're doing on their influence, and I'm a little bit worried, and I'm looking through to see if I can find the bribe official, and it doesn't look like I've unlocked that, unfortunately. Now, I also tried to jump up the chain with Yosef and moving up into the tax collector, as, like I said, I want to be taking over all of the middle offices and the higher offices in order to prepare for my, I almost said descent, but my ascent into taking the sovereign. Now, between these, I decided to give it to the woman, simply considering at 43, the woman is more likely to actually perish than the guy. Even though this is a bit backwards, women's life expectancy was lower due to pregnancies, but if men do more dangerous crap and typically end up dying faster. That's just reality. Here I'm deciding whether I should move over into the Guild of the Craftsmen, and I do decide to switch over to gain the 10% productivity. It does drive people nuts within the Guild of the Merchants, but nobody's really ascended to that level, so...
It won't stay fresh forever.
I know that it kind of hurts, but I do get hurt on one guy that does have Parliament, so it's not the best decision. But 10% productivity is not something to scoff at, and you can see that I've gotten a massive points into Charisma, that we're up to 10, and yeah. Apparently I got a pretty wife. So looking at the boys, the boy the second has only an 8% on the exceptional genes. I've got to figure out a little bit more on how the eugenics actually work in this game. If people know, I really would like to know in the comments below. It'd be really helpful. And here we go, up to the Squire, allowing us to send people to the courts to gaining a ton of influence for a decent chunk of cash. And that seems to be the best way to get your influence. You send your kid to school, then you send to the actual court. Just huge. And it looks like we can start to take over parts of the guild, which is something that I'm not really taking advantage of at the start, but most importantly, access to the higher offices, and we are applying straight for mayor with the boy, because the boy needs to become sovereign. And I'm hoping I can win that. I'm not sure how much influence the mayor currently has. If I end up losing it, Monica might just find herself into an accident. Suspicious circumstances and all. I can't say exactly what happens, but, you know. And I'm starting to become a public nuisance inside of Old Town, and I'm not 100% sure why. I think it actually has something to do with the fact that I jacked all the prices up to 150, and people aren't happy with that, with all my characters boasting all around about it, and yeah. So apparently now that the tavern and the inn is significantly more profitable than it once was, because now people will actually buy, when they come and visit the inn and are served, they can actually buy your food. A huge chunk making the inn actually worth the amount of effort it takes to build it. As the inn took a ton of effort, a ton of businesses to get up and running, and it really only gave a mid-games amount of money. I'm hoping that with this new patch that has come out, it makes the inn stupid profitable for the amount of work that you have to actually put into it. Because otherwise, you might as well just keep up with some butcher shops and some fisher shacks and make even more money. There's a bit of balancing issues that has to be done in this game. And yeah, rhetoric for +5 charisma, that's a nice chunk, and we're going to have to save up for that one. I was initially going to get it, but the voting in for office was just mandatory. Now, checking back into the Gravediggers, it looks like the building has solved itself. We are stockpiling some gear rather than selling it in the front of store, which it's fine to start. I could dump it later, but, you know, it's fine. And it's here that you can start to see a little bit of spoiler for what's to come. Somebody's breaking into a ton of buildings, and I'm not allied with this guy. Something dirty is going to be starting to happen pretty soon on here, and I'm not liking what's going to be starting to come.
What's up?
And here it is. You can see that somebody wrote a pamphlet, and this was the Offschneider Dynasty, and I say death Death to every lie. Let none of these hoary falsehoods be a truth to me, nor the city.
Can't get away from here.
And this is important because considering this guy holds office. And he is competing with me for office. So if I can get him hung, I am guaranteed the position where I am actually fighting for votes. And I don't have a guaranteed 3 for 3. I have a potential of 2 for 3, but I really am going to be losing 1. So if he can be hung before I actually get the good old-fashioned vote, I win. So a bunch of offices started to pop up, and this is where I start just moving all of my family members as fast as possible up the chain. And I do try to start within the captainship, applying forward with the youngest of the wives, because considering the boy is going for mayor, and the customs officer is already being taken by my sons. So there's not really much further I can go, and as a result, I take Waltrude and try to move her up the chain. And like I said, this is about taking the middle offices and just dominating everything. And we're going to vote, and I'm voting for Beatrice. There's no competition here. Beatrice is winning, and I am taking over everything. And it's here that I start hiring some henchmen, because considering I realize that if I'm going to go for a gung-ho into the sovereignship, it might be time to hire some thugs to have the king not live as long. And I unfortunately, when I'm trying to plan up this regicide, I don't choose the right weapons, and I don't really even attempt it. As I just deck out to try and make sure that my guy doesn't drop, and I decide to pick up a battle axe because it's a nice cheap weapon that deals some decent damage. I really should be grabbing the pistol to just run up and shoot him, Archduke Ferdinand style. Or you should either grab the handgun to just run up and shoot them, or you should run up and grab the poison dagger, because considering the poison dagger just melts everyone, including guard armor. So you basically just need to run in and just go pop and make sure that you can take him. Now, I am doing this a little bit early because I'm not actually ready to do this right yet. And I'm going through and making sure, trying to stack all of the offensive stats on this guy as I can. And you're going to see that I grab like the metaphysical belt for more strength, for more intimidation. And I'm not sure if the intimidation build is actually pretty good for this, because you find that when you attack somebody, they actually run away, and they can run away at the speed of your horse, which is just annoying. They need to add in like an actual charge speed on your horse, because there's no reason a 90-year-old woman should be able to outspeed my horse across town. And every time my character goes to attack, he reaches, they do the calculation, she does their fight or flight run, and then she runs, but my character stops. And then it takes me like 3 clicks in order to do one attack, when they just do the automatic runaway calculation, and it makes it impossible to catch up. It's a gripe I have, and I wish that they could fix it. I understand why they kind of fixed it before, because you used to be able to stun lock people into permanently being unable to make the move with using palmistry at the beginning with the robber. So I get it, but I hope that they fix it and find a nice middle ground, because right now it's way too frustrating. And if I'm on a horse, I'm running you down, I should be able to run down a 90-year-old woman to go break her bones. Or more nefarious left-handed actions, because we can not have to chase her around town and just feel frustrated when you're trying to play the illegal rogue or illegal actions. Here we get another child, Julia, who is got a pretty good stat spread on there. We're starting to reach the point where we're getting positive stats over the raw 15. And it's not an ugly child, so it doesn't have to go on a hunting accident. Yep. We can keep Julia. So here we start decking out our second henchman, known as Hans. And we are going to be sending these guys to do some more nefarious acts. At least in the middle of this time, we're going to be guarding the boy, guarding Bukai, and guarding everyone at the beginning until we are ready at a position where we can actually jump and attack the sovereign. So I dump all my money upgrading my hospitality and my bake shop. The bake shop, like I said, is a bit of a mistake because I didn't have all the logistics and everything set up for it, but You know, it is what it is. It's fine. We built up, and it's just a bit of a slower grab. And here we decide to drop the mill, because now it's time to get the croft to supply the mill in order to supply the bake shop. And unfortunately, the mill needs to have bags, which does take a little bit of time to get set up and running, which means that the bake shop really just runs at a loss for the beginning. And there's not really much I can do. I really should have built up the logistics and the setup first before the actual bake shop. Live and learn, it's a mistake, but, you know, live and learn, you fix it for the next time. So setting up the windmill, I kind of decide to wait before I hire an employees. I do get the upgrade, because considering I realize, you know what, the day's going to flick over. I'm not paying their wages right away, and that could have been a costly mistake, but it was fine. And nice, the boy now has the daughter. Or the girl. Even though the girl's not too bad, not as good as Yulia, especially considering she's got a lower perception and very weak at a 1, but, you know, still not worthless.
1 o'clock in the morning, and all is well.
And now somebody's breaking into my buildings, and I'm not liking this. Verdict? A massive fine. I choose fines over jail. The reason why is that fines actually hurt your competitors because it hits their bottom line versus the jail. The jail just temporarily has a worker out, and it really doesn't cost them much. It's like $200 to hire a new worker, or $500. So compared to an actual fine, which can go up into the thousands. Always choose that unless you have death. And even then with death, it doesn't cost them anything. Hit them with a massive fine if they're breaking into your buildings, because that actually discourages them from entering into yours. But because it keeps happening, I'm not liking it, and it's the start of some nasty feud that is about to be happening for the next episode. So, spoiler alert. And my candidature was successful going up into the mayor, so nice. We now have the capability of controlling what elections we're going to be doing. And this guy wrote a pamphlet, death. Moving right down to death. Make sure that he hangs. Cast your vote. Well, you know what, Sigmar? I don't like what you did against me, so I'm going to be voting for this person here, Caroline. She's not going to live as long. It's a mistake, because like I said, we're going to be feuding with them. And I pushed them forward. Not liking it. Court proceedings. Broke into my building. Massive fine.
I'm a bit busy right now.
So, the bakery has a ton of problems. And, like I said, that's where most of my huge money sink went. And it just was never profitable. I should have built the logistics first before building it, but it is what it is. Now setting up the bake shop, it's time to actually hire the workers and set it to automate on building the flowers in order to supply the bake shop. I will eventually set the actual transporter to drop off at the bake shop, but this is an eventuality and not a complete right way. So I'm setting up the actual transport system from the croft to the actual flowering business, where I'm going to be, I do screw it up. I set it to the flowering business rather than sending it to the mill, and this is my big mistake, as the wheat trade route should actually be going to the mill and then picking up the milled flour, but it's a big mistake that I don't notice, and it ends up being costly for me. However, it should have been costly for me. Instead, I realized that I did not save it. And here, we then set it up to the actual... It's just a big mistake. It fills up the actual piece, and I never caught it. It's a mistake that stays until the end of the series, unfortunately. And the Market Reeve is available, so now it's time to shoot up with another wife up the line. So now it's time for Bertha to take over the Market Reeve, and with that, we will hold all the positions for the middle office, and are in a decent spot knowing as we are now the mayor. And again, these guys are breaking into businesses. Ain't liking this. Vacant office. Let's keep going, keep going. But it's low. I don't have enough family members to actually fill it. But the city legate is open, and it is now time to move Yosef up the line and take over the upper offices. So if you guys have been enjoying this video, don't hesitate to give it a like, a subscribe, pass it on to your friends. If you hated it, pass it on to your enemies out of pure spite. If you would like to help support the channel, there's a link to a coffee shop. You can buy me a coffee. It'd be much appreciated. And with that, take care, everyone.